Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, a new report forecasts Phoenix as the #1 real estate market for next year. Also tonight, the Black Theater Troupe reprises its production of a famed Christmas play. And we'll check out an exhibit that focuses on women and power. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. A new report by Realtor.com says that the Phoenix metro area will be the top real estate market in the country next year. Here to talk about the report and the market in general is Tina Tambor, a senior real estate analyst for the Cromford Report, which provides analysis of the local real estate market. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Just in general, the Valley's real estate market, where are we here?
Oh, we're a very hot market actually anyway, because we have a lot of demand here and we have a lot of affordable real estate. So that generally creates a lot of activity in terms of demand. But we also have very good job growth here, and a lot of those jobs are coming with higher incomes, so that is also helping us quite a bit.
So when Realtor.com comes out with a report that says the Phoenix market could be #1 in 2017, do you agree?
That's a pretty bold,
Yes.
That's a very bold proclamation. I don't do the rest of the country, but I can say that Phoenix has been recovering at very good rates. And also, we've been the first out of the foreclosure crisis. There are plenty of states out there who are still running through their foreclosure inventory still.
Why were we so fast to get out of that crisis?
Well, we're not a judicial foreclosure state, for one. So the judicial foreclosure states tended to lag, and a lot of those foreclosures got caught up in the court systems. And so that keeps a lot of distressed property out on the market, or not even on the market, but just there as
I see.
Not being lived in, not being kept up. So that kept a lot of markets behind. But for Phoenix, because we don't have that judicial lag, we were out of the gates pretty quickly, and so we're ahead of a lot of those markets.
So turnover in those homes happens faster?
Yes, the banks can get it. And there were a lot of mistakes made, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no, I got you.
But they were able to turn those faster than other states.
As far as sales, they are increasing, but Realtor.com is forecasting maybe a 5.96% increase for next year. Again, realistic?
Probably not too bad, because we still have a population growth here. We are still getting very good relocation inbound from corporations choosing to expand or relocate here, especially in the Tempe, Chandler area. Along the I-17, we've had a lot of corporate expansion, also on the industrial side along I-10 on the west side. So in terms of job growth, we've come down from about 7% unemployment to, I think we're down at 4.5% now,
right,
just since 2013.
So that equates to increasing sales prices, and sales, I should say, but what about the prices? Again, Realtor.com is saying 7.2% hike in prices.
Well, it's going to vary by price range, because obviously on the lower end, that's where we have the largest restriction of supply. When you start getting over 250,000, 300,000, and especially over 500,000, there's plenty to choose from for a buyer, so that tends to reduce a seller's advantage. So those price appreciation rates are still not necessarily bad. They're not declining, but they're not nearly as exciting as the lower ends, like right around the 175 mark.
Where everything's happening, right?
Yeah, like somewhere between 150, 175, you can get as much as 8 or 9% annual appreciation, but you're not going to get that, say, in the 300 range or 400 range.
When we talked last about #1 in the country and big sales increases and big price increases and everything is just going gangbusters, it did go gangbusters straight down the you-know-what. I mean, are speculators out there again? Are we seeing a possible bubble here?
It's not, no. It's, for one, in order to get back to the peak of our bubble was 2006. We would have to appreciate another 30% or more in order to get back to 2006 prices, which, by the way, was a decade ago.
Yes.
So it's not like we've shot up there. You know? So it's another thing too is, back in the bubble days, a lot of the sales between investors were of vacant homes. They had no intention of living in the home. They had no intention of renting it out. Now, though, there is actual demand for people to live in the homes, and that's what creates a lot of that. It's true value, not what they called artificial values. Also, which is different from the 2005 huge uptick in pricing, appraisals are way more regulated now.
Yes.
They make a bigger difference. And because the appraisers don't answer to realtors or lenders or anyone else in the transaction, only to the banks, the people lending the money,
Yeah.
they are probably restricting a lot. We would probably have way more appreciation rates if it weren't for
Interesting.
appraisals keeping us. Yeah, because a lot of the buyers now do need a loan, and those appraisal contingencies are not being waived.
Let's talk about those loans. Realtor.com is forecasting interest rates to climb to about 4.5% for mortgage rates here. First of all, do you agree? And secondly, if that's the case, that kind of bumps those first-time buyers around a little bit, doesn't it?
Well, we stopped trying to predict what interest rates were going to do. We let other people be wrong about that, for one, because they can jump around. But generally what interest rates do is, if everything else stays the same, it can decrease demand. But the problem with saying that interest rates will do anything to price is assuming that everything else that affects supply and demand will stay the same. So what affects the market and demand more than interest rates are whether or not the lenders can loosen up in their lending practices along with the increase in rate. So say, for instance, we had a 3% rate in 2011, but nobody could qualify for it. So it didn't really boost our demand. So if you bump it up to 4.5%, you'll knock a few people off the end who will be priced out of the market. But then if the lenders are able to offer that to more people, your overall level of buyers that are pre-approved goes up. And what that does is it shifts your market share within price ranges. So instead of buying, say, a $260,000 home, now somebody buys a $240,000 home, just smaller home.
So basically, the hot end of the market maybe moves up a little bit.
Yeah, just the market share shifts between price ranges, but oftentimes we see the demand overall will go up. Now, what will affect that is right now we have Dodd-Frank, and Dodd-Frank restricts a lot of the lenders in how much risk they can take on, especially on the lower end. And so if Dodd-Frank is loosened up with the new administration coming in, we may see lenders being able to loosen up, and that would actually increase our demand.
As long as, again, we don't get the little bubble forming.
Yes,
like
as long as they don't get too crazy.
Yeah, it's not too crazy. Last question, real quickly. Townhouses, condos, any difference there from single family?
Townhouses and condos are doing extremely well, especially in the center of the valley. We're not going to see a lot of townhouses on the outskirts of town, but when you start getting into the downtown area within the freeway systems, central, those townhouses are doing very well. And that is because single families have become so expensive that younger buyers who want to live downtown are having to choose townhouses. And we've gotten more supply being built on the townhouse level.
So sales
newer.
increasing and prices increasing for townhomes and condos?
They are definitely doing very well. I would say yes, except on the upper end. You know, the luxury townhouses and condos may be seeing a little more supply than on the more affordable end of it.
And that's the same as single-family homes, correct? The luxury homes just aren't selling quite as much as the ones.
They just have more to choose from,
Right.
and a lot of the builders have been focusing more on the move-up and pre-luxury market, and not so much on the entry-level first-time home buyer. And the people who have been filling that are flip investors. They've been finding those older homes, smaller homes, making them feel new, and that's where they've been going into downtown Phoenix.
Well, all right. Encouraging news here from Realtor.com, and you're corroborating it, so it sounds good. Good to see you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Black Theater Troupe is reprising its performance of Black Nativity, a song play written by Harlem Renaissance poet Langston Hughes and first performed in 1961. Black Theater Troupe director David Hemphill joins us now to talk about this unique production. Welcome to Arizona Horizon.
Thank you for having us.
Good to have you here. Give me a better definition. What is Black Nativity?
Well, it's a retelling of the Christmas story, particularly the Nativity. And it uses some traditional Christmas hymns, or Christmas songs that are done in a gospel style, and then there's some songs that were written specifically for the show, and then we add songs of our own for the show. So it's a Christmas story.
Basically, we got scripture, you've got verse, you've got dance.
Yes, Mary and Joseph and the angel are danced roles. They're mute, and they dance. This year we have a very, very wonderful Mary. She's with Scottsdale Ballet, and she's wonderful.
Wow, that sounds great. Now, are these traditional carols sung gospel style? Traditionals sung traditional? Are these gospel hymns sung? Give me the equation there.
Well, they are. Some are traditional carols sung with a gospel twist. So everybody will recognize "Go Tell It on the Mountain," but not our version. And they'll recognize "Joy to the World," "Oh Come All Ye Faithful," all of the songs that are traditional with a gospel twist to them.
Complete musical, or is there spoken word in between?
Well, there's a narrator
okay.
that does speak Langston Hughes the text. But for the most part, it's a sung-through show.
Langston Hughes described this as a gospel song play. Make sense to you?
Yeah, it's a play, and it is gospel.
Yeah.
You know, it is very rooted in gospel, and then it is one of the first African American productions to be produced off Broadway. So it's rooted in, good playwriting also.
Now, this is a very popular performance for your group. It's very popular performance for groups around the country.
Yes.
Do different groups perform this in different, like Shakespeare, you'll see Hamlet done in a bar in Chicago, and then it'll be done at are stage designs and sets and performances different around the country?
Completely different. It depends on the taste of the directors. Just like you said, the same license that one takes with Shakespeare and productions as such, you do with Black Nativity. This year, we, in addition to the African theme, this year, we have a more biblical style telling of this story.
What does that mean? What do you mean?
Well, that means that our narrator, instead of speaking Langston Hughes's text in a way that would probably be considered an actor speaking, he does ours in a like a minister.
Interesting.
Like a gospel minister.
And again, that may not have been the way it was done last year. It may not be the way it's done next year.
Right.
But it's the way you're doing it.
That's the way we're doing it, and it's a very we do it every year. And this year, we have a very new and exciting set designed by Joel Burt, so it's wonderful.
Talk about the challenges of putting something like this on. I mean, it sounds like it incorporates almost every aspect of a theater performance.
Yes, it's very challenging. The good thing about it is that all of the components can be put together separately. You can rehearse the dancers and the singers separately, and then the narrator. No one interacts with each other.
Oh.
So it's the challenge of such a large production is diminished by being able to break it down in parts like that.
Kind of move them out and move them in kind of thing.
Yes.
Huh? As far as the Black Theater Troupes go, how you doing? I know you guys have been around, what, 1970, something along those lines?
1997, this is our 46th season.
How you doing?
We're doing very well. Of course, as with most groups, we would like to see, more financial stability. But we're doing well. We'll be around for a long time. We are in our new facility on Washington, which was part of the city bond in 2006. We received a bond from the city to secure a permanent facility and it's a beautiful
I was
facility.
going to say that had to have helped an awful lot.
It helps a whole lot. It was very challenging in that the city only gives you a building. You have to raise the funds for the seats and the stage and the lights and all of that yourself.
In
So-
this age of the internet, is A, raising funds, and B, just getting fannies in the seats? Is it more difficult than it was back in the day?
Well, it's more difficult in the sense that you have to be able to identify how to properly and most efficiently use the internet or the social media. So it's more difficult in that aspect. But in terms of the old days of putting out flyers and banging on doors or whatever, it's much easier now.
Yeah, I would
Much easier.
imagine. Is it any easier, Phoenix, a growing city, growing market? Is it easier to find local talent?
It depends. It's not as easy, and some cities have a larger African American population. So for productions like ours, which mainly produce works from the African American canon, it can be a little difficult in finding particular roles or particular cast members. But there's a lot of good talent here in Phoenix.
Is there an effort maybe to get more instruction for the younger kids to maybe come up
Yes.
through the arts and come up through the
Right.
theater arts and get that
That's
talent
it.
pool growing?
Right, that's it. You hit it on the nail. What we have is two children's programs. One is rooted in literacy, and then we, on the backside, introduce the children to performing. And then one is specifically a performance company for youth. So we have a lot of good performers in the pipeline. Whether or not they'll stay, we don't know, but
Yeah.
there are good performers in the pipeline.
And so far, you're getting a good reaction from these kids, and does the interest seem to be there?
Yeah, the interest is there. More importantly, it's their parents, that generation that was very, very involved with our company, that is very supportive of the company and the children. So there's the interest is there, even if it's just because Mom said I had to do it.
And you got to get their faces out of that computer
Yes,
screen.
you do.
I mean, it's got to be a difficult thing to do this day and age.
Can be a little difficult, but that's where programs like our Books Alive comes into play. We give them something to read and to look at, and we use tablets and that sort of thing, and then we get them on stage.
So Black Nativity, give me the dates now.
December 2nd through December 18, Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. Some of the performances are sold out, so if people are interested, www.blacktheatertroupe.org.
blacktheatertroupe.org.
That's it.
And if they want a better look at you, you're when we do our
your
underwriter,
credits, right.
yeah, underwriter for the
That's right, for the Piper.
Piper Foundation. There you guys are.
We are. We're three young ladies standing there singing on stage at the Herberger. That's from our production of Blues in the Night.
All right, very good. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us. We
Thank
appreciate
you very
it.
much. I appreciate it.
When London Bridge was completed in 1831, the automobile didn't even exist. By 1968, it may not have been falling down, but the bridge was sinking under the crush of modern traffic. So the city of London decided to sell it to a developer in Arizona. Just off of State Route 95 in Lake Havasu City is a plaque memorializing the dedication and reopening of the bridge in October 1971. The two-day gala included an elaborate dinner attended by 800 people, including then Arizona Governor Jack Williams and Sir Peter Studd, Lord Mayor of London. Behind the fireworks and go-go girls was over 3 years of risk-taking and hard work. It was the dream of C.V. Wood and Robert McCulloch, who were developing the fledgling town. The bridge was purchased for over $2 million. The 22 million ton structure was dismantled, each stone numbered, and shipped 10,000 miles to Long Beach, California, and then trucked to Lake Havasu's Colorado riverbank. It took 40 workers 3 years to reconstruct the bridge. The original 19th century construction crew of 800 took 7 years, and 40 laborers died. The bridge survived the German Blitz of London during World War II. Its light poles are made from cannons seized from Napoleon's army at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. The metal melted down and forged into lamps. Today, the London Bridge attracts over 1.5 million sun-seeking visitors a year, exceeded only by the Grand Canyon.
That saw the first woman nominated as a major party presidential candidate, we take a look at a timely and thought-provoking exhibition at the Scottsdale Museum of Contemporary Art. Producer Shauna Fisher and photographer Rob McJanet introduce us to Push Comes to Shove.
I mean, I think the new work, but also the idea of the ambition.
Muriel Magenta wants to change the way we think about women.
Push Comes to Shove is an exhibition about women in power from an artistic perspective. The title itself, Push Comes to Shove, implies an action.
Magenta, an Arizona State University art professor, curated Push Comes to Shove. She challenged 19 artists to create works that convey the meaning of women in power.
And I felt like this is an important time because we need to renew this consciousness in a big way because of national and international issues that are going on that all involve gender in some way.
The artists, 18 women and 1 man, created works of art that encourage conversation and looking within ourselves for answers to tackle a societal issue.
We need more women at the table in all high places, and I hope this might be an inspiration to viewers who come here and see all these works by artists that are so powerful and contributing to a feeling that this is very enabling and important.
Magenta says one of the more captivating pieces is by a young artist, Brooke Grusella. Grusella created a painting based on pop art graffiti style. She incorporated images of powerful women, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Arizona's former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords. The painting looks at the idea that oftentimes when women are in positions of power, they still have to knock down traditional ways of thinking.
The current climate is totally polarized. It is so polarized from an economic, a political, and a cultural point of view. And it's very important for women and artists to speak out in this polarized environment, to expound on the idea that women's rights are human rights.
SMOCA's director, Sarah Cochran, says the museum's responsibility is to give its patrons a different way of looking at hot-button issues.
And that's what artists do so well. Artists who are thoughtful and delightful individuals have the ability to synthesize ideas and allow us to talk about those ideas without the heat of politics.
Some artists took a humorous approach when examining the topic.
We have a wonderful piece by Hilary Harp and Susie Silver, which is part of their ongoing series, Very Fantastic, which is a way of recuperating and retelling folk tales and fairy tales that are perhaps not as kind to women, and especially older women. And they have turned a woman with an unfortunate problem of gas into a superhero who can save individuals from bandits.
Other artists looked across the border and brought together issues dealing with equality to create a unifying piece.
Janae Sanchez and Gabriela Munoz worked with an artist collective on the border down between Douglas and Agua Prieta and built a 22-foot adobe wall that is behind me. It is emblazoned with the images of the women who helped them make it. It's called Labor, and this kind of juxtaposition of both the anonymous labor of all of the hands that together as a collective built the wall, but yet their individual faces being on the wall is a really lovely testament to, I would say, cross-border collaboration.
Much of the work is deeply personal. For Siri Kondavilli, she delved into her upbringing in India to create a work that is a visually stunning take on shattering the glass ceiling. 101 plexiglass shattered ceilings are strung together using traditional Indian bangles.
It's a really interesting piece in the way it references Indian religious architecture, but also in a very interesting way references another country which is struggling with the position of women, coming out of a very traditional and a religious-based society.
Magenta says Push Comes to Shove is a raw and thought-provoking look at not only how we view women, but ourselves.
Art is the mirror of society. Art is life. Life is art. It tells you art is all about what's going on in a particular culture.
And that is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.